everybody, and welcome back. Today I am discussing unprecedented news regarding the United States and the development of a new military branch which may pique your interest, Space Force. Now, there's also going to be some accusations of alien activities, and in addition, I will also go over some shocking information relating to Tom DeLong from our Blink-182 band. So, now, to get right to it, to get you a little caught up, for those who are not aware, there's a Space Command and a Space Force. There's a couple differences here. So with the Space Command, this is a step forward in the national security efforts in the space domain. This started in 1985. But this is different than the president, Mr. Trump, his call to build a new military branch called Space Force. Space Force will focus on conducting all joint space warfighting operations and ensure the combat readiness of global forces. Now, the Space Force will eventually consolidate existing military and civilian personnel involved in the military space activities under its own operations. Now, the first Space Command, it was established in 1985. However, it was decommissioned in 2002. These resources were diverted for a noble effort, a development with Homeland Security for the post-9/11. This was the wake of the September 11th events. So Homeland Security was starting to be developed as the Space Command was disassembled. Now, in 2019, the National Defense Authorization Act, this was signed into law in 2018. This was a direct reestablishment of the U.S. Space Command as a subunified combatant command under the U.S. Strategic Command. Lots of different commands going on here. But in December of 2018, the Trump administration directed that the U.S. Space Command instead be reestablished as a full, unified combatant command with full responsibilities for space warfighting. And this will be held under the U.S. Strategic Command. Now, since the 1960s, governing bodies around the world have been discussing space warfare. Most recently, December of 2019, Trump officially establishes the U.S. Space Force with 2020 defense bill signing. Now, it's never too late for the U.S. to get into this game, but if we look back in time, Russia established their Space Force August 10th of 1992. Now, January 14th, General J. Raymond was sworn in as the first Space Force leader. Space Force has a couple of priorities, prerogatives, if you will. Space Force is tasked with two priorities. Number one, provide freedom of operation for the United States in and from to space. Their second priority is to provide prompt and sustained space operations. Now, can this be for UFO and alien defense? Or is this for satellite communications, war on the horizon with countries grappling for their own share of space? Is this because China's on the moon? Is this because Elon Musk is shuttling into space on a weekly basis and there's more of a development with the private sector? In a media roundtable, in discussion, let's say, of the General J. Raymond, there was a roundtable where the defense, the website, it was called defense.gov. I'll post a link in my description here, but the new commander of the Space Control is questioned about the threat of UFOs and aliens. So here's a little reading from that article here. Okay, so there was a reporter here, and what they do is they said, of course, you mentioned China and Russia as threats. We also know that the department has some issues with aliens as well. And to what extent the Space Command is the establishment of Space Command is triggered by the concern regarding aliens? General Raymond responded that the stand-up of the U.S. Space Command is designed to be warfighting command focused on being able to protect those capabilities that fuel our joint and coalition operations around the globe. It's designed to protect and defend those capabilities that fuel our way of life and to develop people to be able to do that. That's the focus of this command. It's a warfighting command. Again, I will post that link to the article, defense.gov, where blatantly this commander has deflected, not answering or touching on the ufology or the alien aspects. In addition, those questions arise when those questions arise from the reporter. We know your department has some issues with aliens. What situations? What issues? Is the reporter touching on the best documented and most baffling UFO sightings of the 21st century? There were fighter pilots, if you're not aware. There were fighter pilots and radar operators from the USS Nimitz documented UFOs at 80,000 feet. They were outmaneuvering Super Hornet fighter jets, which were the U.S. military's top-of-the-line jets in 2004. Now, after this initial encounter, over the following weeks, radar technicians documented hundreds of anomalous aerial vehicles. They call them AAVs. The radar technicians watched the display, and what they said here, they said it was like watching snow fall from the sky. Now, Joseph Gracier, he's a spokesperson, the deputy chief of the naval operations. He was quoted as saying the Navy considers that phenomena from 2004, what was contained, what was depicted in those 3 videos, as unidentified. The years following this event in 2004, there was a pop star. He was with Blink-182, Mr. Tom DeLong. They came into the spotlight back in 2017. They were called, Mr. DeLong, he was called a quack, a nut. Just lack of details is what he provided. Even our friend Tyler Glockner with the Secure Team 10, he posted a video where even Tyler, he thought Tom DeLong was out of his mind. Tyler with Secure Team was wrong, and unfortunately has yet to come out with any recent content with ufology. Tyler himself has succumbed to some sort of online scrutiny regarding some DUI or some fake information going around, but he's been MIA. Recently, I think yesterday, I think it was January 14th, he posted on Twitter that he's coming back, or I don't know. I still haven't seen any videos, but Tyler, if you're listening, I hope you're doing well. Definitely hope you're doing well, but I'm going to post a link to Tyler's video here as a courtesy, so if you do want to get caught up on the whole Tom DeLong, there's going to be a link, an article in the description. But in addition to Secure Team 10 thinking that Tom was a nut job, Joe Rogan, he runs a podcast. A comedian, Joe Rogan himself, runs a popular podcast. He interviewed Mr. Blink-182 pop star Tom DeLong, and Joe Rogan, he was not impressed, nor did Joe fall into believing anything that Tom DeLong brought to the table. Joe later spoke about that interview and how weird his interaction was. No fine details were ever provided by DeLong. There was just information, hush-hush, cryptic dialogue going back and forth. But I'm also going to include a link to Mr. Joe Rogan's podcast regarding Tom DeLong, his interview. Now, with DeLong, to give you a little back history, he has some extraterrestrial research organization. He's gained some much-needed credibility following the U.S. government's confirmation that the 3 videos published by the group in 2017 and 18, that they do in fact show unidentified objects, as we discussed earlier. Now, in 2017, the Pentagon confirmed the existence of a program that was ongoing from 2007 to 2012. That program, of course, was the Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program, AATIP, ATIP. That was dedicated solely to investigating reports of UFOs. Intelligence Officer Luis Alonso, he served as the former director. Now, Alonso, he departed from the Pentagon in 2017. And that year, he actually spoke with reporters at the New York Times, confirming the existence of this shadowy agency and describing its mission. Now, more recently in the news, the Army, the United States Army, they partnered with former Blink-182 founder, the founder of the UFO research company, to study. So they partnered with Tom DeLong, the Army did. But what I was reading, and I'll post a link to the armytimes.com, but they say, get this, they say that Tom DeLong's going to help them in researching alien technology. What alien technology will Tom DeLong be studying? Where was this technology found? Why Tom DeLong? Why DeLong? Of all people, this is random. Why Blink-182 Tom DeLong? Is it a coincidence that Space Force has recently been established? Is there a shift from local terrorism to interstellar terrorism? Space Command was recommissioned after 17 years. What do you think about that? But let's not forget the reporter, the questioning from Defense, the Department of Defense, the new commander of the Space Force. He was questioned about alien issues. What will we learn in 2020? What will we know tomorrow? Let's find out together. If you enjoyed this video, if you enjoyed this information, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you want to. Keep in touch. Definitely subscribe if you haven't already. Comment. Let me know what you think. Share this videos with others that you know that are into ufology or individuals who are not with ufology. Post it. See what your friends think. So many questions that we have right here. This is relevant. This is beyond a cryptic video of a blurry Bigfoot. This is solid evidence, UFO evidence, documentation, officials from the military. So many questions, a lot of answers to come. Email me. Email me with your UFO or mystery videos. Stay tuned. Stay safe. Again, subscribe. Keep in touch. Have yourself a great rest of your day.